Good evening everyone, a very warm welcome to Albury Academy. I'm Phil Shackleton, the head teacher. We've staggered our speeches this evening just to try and limit people in the hall. We had a big first sitting, and we've had 3 or 4 now different speeches to try and limit, for obvious reasons, how many people are in the hall all at the same time. The choice of secondary schools for parents is clearly a really important time for yourselves, and I hope this evening you're able to gather some information to help you make that decision over the coming weeks and months. I'm going to talk for a short while just to give you a little bit of information about our school, talk to you about our ethos and values, talk to you about our expectations and standards, just to give you an insight into what Albury Academy is like. Our last full inspection from Ofsted was over 4 years ago in 2017, and I think we are a very different school to that in 2017. We've done a great deal of work looking at our ethos and values. This included work with students, parents and members of staff to see what was important and what we wanted to be important about our school. The students came up with an acronym of CARE, where each of the letters represented a core value. So the first one, Celebrate Together, places a real emphasis on celebrating the achievements of all of our students who make a positive contribution to our school. Achievement for All focuses on, regardless of your ability level, making sure that you get academic progress and success. Respect for each other is about developing a culture of tolerance and equality within our student body. And finally, Expectations to Succeed. There is a very clear expectation on all of our students to try hard and give 100% effort all of the time. In September, Albury Academy became a member of Stour Vale Multi-Academy Trust. And multi-academy trusts are groups of schools that work together to ensure that students within that trust get the very best education. We've worked with Stour Vale schools now for over 3 years on school improvement, and I was delighted when they asked us to join their multi-academy trust. Schools within the trust are ourselves, Albury Academy, Redhill High School, which is an outstanding school in Stourbridge, Ridgewood High School, also in Stourbridge, the Earls High School in Halsowing, and 3 primary schools, Olive Hill Primary, Northfield Road and Newtown Primary. The benefits of being in a strong multi-academy trust are really clear for me. Firstly, we're able to share best practice and expertise across the schools, and this means we continually to improve the teaching and learning and the quality of education for all of the children within the school and across the multi-academy trust. We're in a better position to recruit, to retain, to train teachers and support members of staff, and that's important to make sure teaching and learning and expectations and standards remains really high. These benefit the children of our school and children across the mat. You can expect your child to be at the centre of all of the decisions that I make as head teacher in school. I may have 200 staff to lead and manage, but children will always come first because this is their one and only opportunity to get a good education. I have 3 children of my own. My eldest has just left to go to Worcester University to train as a primary school teacher. My middle daughter is in year 12 and my youngest daughter is in year 10. And it's important for me to take what I want for my own children into how I lead and develop this school where I work. The way I do is I look at developing the whole child. I'm looking to make sure they get academic success, but I'm also looking to make sure I develop and improve all of those personal qualities that I know that those children will need throughout their lives. My number one priority is to make sure children feel safe and enjoy coming to school, because if I can get that right, everything else will fall into place. I want them to make better than expected progress. I want them to have high aspirations and ambitions. Ultimately, I want them to develop into young people who know the difference between right and wrong, who are polite, respectful and courteous. I know you are installing these qualities into your children at home, and I see it as my job to help support that by continuing that when they are in school. School is organised into year groups, so the children have a form tutor. This is a really important person for the children because that form tutor will go with them right the way through from year 7 to year 11. It's about building a positive relationship with that member of staff who will always be their first point of call. There is also a head of year in each year group. There is an assistant head of year and what we call a student welfare officer. And all of these members of staff are there to support your children pastorally. We also have a large number of support staff who work in our Learning Support Centre, our Special Educational Needs Department, our academic coaches and our attendance team, who are again all there to support children. As I said, Ofsted, our last full inspection was way back in 2017, but we have had some monitoring inspections on the way through over the last few years. And Ofsted have recognised that leaders and governors are taking effective action to make sure Albury Academy is a good school. I fully expect our next Ofsted inspection to happen over the next few weeks. I was hoping it would have happened before this evening, and I will share that with all of the primary schools as soon as we have our visit. I am extremely confident that they will say we are now a good school. Ofsted recently in their monitoring visits did say that the leadership team have accelerated the rate of improvement and they have recruited successful high quality teachers and leaders. They also say we have high ambitions for our students and our teachers and expectations are high. Since 2012 there's been a real positive impact upon behaviour, pupils' personal development and the ethos of the school. They've recognised that pupils were very well cared for and that the in-school behaviour was good. During lockdown, I'd like to think we're at the forefront of supporting all of the students in our school. You will know from numerous self-isolation experiences from your own primary school and the national lockdown. Ofsted recognised that we rose to that challenge really quickly. We continue to improve our online provision, which meant that pupils know and remember more of the planned curriculum. We surveyed all of our parents. We have 1,400 children in school. We surveyed all of our parents to ask them if they had the technology at home to access remote learning, and we handed out over 400 laptops to make sure our children could access online lessons with their teachers. Perceptions about behaviour in school and bullying are really important, and rightly so, for parents and children. We complete surveys with our children to get asked their opinion. We've worked already with our New Year 7s to talk to them specifically about bullying because we want them to feel safe and comfortable in school. Last academic year, I spoke to some parents who didn't consider us as a school for their children. They came to have a look at us during the day and they left with a totally different perception of what our school is like. What I would urge you to do, we have got open mornings all of this week. We've got tours around school from 9:30 and 10 o'clock. And I would urge you to come and have a look at what our school is like during the day. You would expect me as the head teacher to talk passionately about my children in school, talk passionately about the staff in school, but please come and have a look at us during the day. And I would urge you to do that with all of the schools that you're considering for your children, because you'll get to see what they are like in the real terms, in terms of what the children are experiencing every day. I'm extremely proud of our students. We have student ambassadors, we have student prefects, we have over 50 students in our junior leadership team, which I see as a really key development for our students. You'll get to meet many of these students tonight, and I know you've already met some of them. Please feel free to ask them what school is like. Ask them what I am like as the head teacher. Ask them what the staff are like, and I know you'll get a really positive answer. You will meet some really confident young people, and I see that developing these personal skills are a really important part of them growing up. Some of our children this evening are Year 7 students who have only been with us for a really short amount of time, and this might be the first time they've actually met and took people they don't know around the school, most definitely if they haven't done it in primary school, and I know they will do a great job, and I see it as a really important part of their personal development. I have very high expectations of myself as the head teacher. I have high expectations of all of the students, all of the teaching staff and all of the support staff in school. Classrooms need to be places where teachers are free to teach and students are free to learn. It's really important that we get the quality of teaching and learning correct in the classroom. We won't tolerate the misbehaviour of the minority of students in school who look to challenge in terms of the learning of other students. There is no place at Albury Academy for students who don't want to learn. We aim to be firm but fair, and we give the students the opportunity to experience a range of rewards but also sanctions if they don't get their behaviour correct. And we see it as an important part of helping them to make a better decision. We aim to inspire our students. We aim to allow them to share our enthusiasm for learning, to make sure that they have a really positive experience every day in school. Quality first teaching is one of our number one priorities, one of our priorities. Again, it's something that's brought about real progress in our school. We've recruited some really experienced staff to supplement and support the existing staff. We focus upon challenge outcomes in lessons, and this is about pitching the lesson to the ability of every single children in the classroom. We have structured assessments that tell us how well students are doing, and we also have engaging lessons and effective feedback to make sure we know what we need to do to help students to improve. I was really pleased with the outcomes of last academic year, our outgoing Year 11s, and our outcomes have improved and risen over the last four academic years. We look closely at the attainment of Key Stage 2 when the students arrive to us in Year 7, because we want to make sure that each student, when they arrive to us, make better than expected progress. We had some fantastic individual results last academic year, with some of our students achieving the very highest of grades. As you can see, the outcomes at Albury Academy for our students are now above the national average, and any of my colleagues when you walk around the school will talk to you about the Progress 8 measure. The national average is 0. Everybody above 0 is above the national average. Obviously, everybody with a minus score is below the national average, and we've worked really hard to get ourselves above the national average. Our interventions start really early for students. I can tell you, in the summer holidays, we had 100 Year 6 students who are currently in our Year 7 come to our summer school. We work closely with our partner primary schools to identify those students who needed that extra support, who perhaps didn't access the remote education whilst they were at primary school. And we work with them in the summer holidays to give them our summer school to help them begin that process of improving and catching up their learning. It also allowed those students to get to know some of us and for equally for us to get to know some of those students, because from a pastoral point of view, that's really important for students moving to a new school. Staff retention is really key, and I'm really pleased to say we've had very few staff move on in the last 4 years, and I think that's testament to the ethos that we've developed in school, and that really gives that consistency to the teaching and the students in school, which is really important. Getting things right for me is really important in terms of my ethos, and I recently talked to my colleagues about my own daughter's experience at her school. She goes to an outstanding school in Staffordshire where we live. She was given a piece of homework in Year 10, in Year 9, which was in Year 9 last year, about a person who went to Auschwitz, and she was asked by her English teacher to write an account of this photograph of this person who went to Auschwitz. Being a dad, I sat with her and we worked really hard on this piece of work. She decided to write it as a diary entry. She wrote it as if the person was travelling on the train, really descriptive about what was happening, what happened when they got to Auschwitz. A really fantastic piece of work. She handed it in to her English teacher. A week went by and I said to her, Rihanna, what did your English teacher say about that piece of work? She went, nothing, Dad. I said, okay. I left it another week. And I said, what did your English teacher say about that piece of work? I'd actually helped, and I was looking for a bit of positive feedback myself. You know, as parents, when you're getting the work for your children, you want a bit of positive feedback. After 2 weeks, I said, what did your English teacher say about that piece of work, Rihanna? She said, they gave me a tick. And I went, oh, okay. I said to her, if your teacher is not going to encourage you by the feedback they give you, you do it for yourself, because that's important. Because she said to me, Dad, you know what, Dad, I ain't going to bother. I said, no, you need to do it for yourself if your teacher's not going to do it. I've worked really hard with my members of staff. We've not always got it right, and we don't always get it right, but I work really hard with my members of staff to make sure that won't happen at our school. And if it does, I will challenge those members of staff, because I expect better from them. In terms of support for students, we also have a really strong special educational needs department. Miss Hancock and Miss Collins are here this evening if you'd like to speak to them, and I know they'll be happy to assist. Alongside the learning support assistants. We have what's called academic coaches, and these are colleagues who work with students who are underperforming. It might be a gifted and talented student who's looking for a grade 8 or 9. It might be a student who's only looking to get a grade 2, 3 or 4. It doesn't matter on the ability. We're just there to try and support that student and get the best possible grade they can. The single most important thing for me about our school is the people within it. People often ask me, as a head teacher, say, how do you make sure children are engaged in their learning, who are enthusiastic? For me, it's really simple. You have to surround them by people who are enthusiastic and inspiring themselves. And that positivity rubs off on those children, and they get swept along by that positivity in school. And I see that as something that's really important. Our school day starts at 8:40. The children always begin with their form tutor, and I see that as, again, a really key bit about embedding standards and making sure there is a real firm start to the school day. We now have 4 1-hour 15-minute lessons. Students have a break time and a 30-minute lunch time where they can socialise with their friends, they can access recreational clubs and do revision sessions. You can see that years 7, 8 and 9 have a different break and lunch time to older students in year 10 and 11. This was something we introduced as part of our measures through the pandemic to limit movement and limit interaction between students. And it was something that worked really well. So our younger students now don't mix at break and lunch times with our older students, because our older students are in lessons at that time. And we've seen that as a real positive step in school. Our curriculum is designed to make sure students get a full range of experiences. They cover the full academic range of subjects, and we also support students through what we call the vocational curriculum with subjects such as catering, sport and health and social care. We have some fantastic facilities in school, some amazing ICT facilities. We've got 8 ICT computer suites, and our science, music and sports facilities are second to none. We've also got a recording studio up on the top floor in music, and we've also got a fitness suite over in Sam's gym. And this year we've introduced a sensory room for our SEN students in the SEN area. As well as all of the curriculum subjects and the facilities that we have, we offer a wide range of enrichment opportunities for students. And since we've been back in September, those enrichment activities have already started. On Friday last week, a group of our creative arts students went to the Hippodrome Theatre to watch a play at the theatre, which was really positive. We have previously ran trips to Iceland, to New York, to Canada. Students have been skiing to America, and also some much closer home activity centres. We've taken some students on a football trip to Manchester United as part of a rewards trip. And some of you might notice from my accent, I'm from just down the road in Wolverhampton, and I'm keen to run a trip to the Molineux, but unfortunately all of the West Brom supporters in school are not so keen as I am. But the offer is always there. We have plenty of opportunities for students to go on these trips. We do have an expectation that students get involved in extracurricular activities outside of school. They might not necessarily be able to access all of the trips that we run, but we would want them to access things outside of lessons at lunchtime and after school. We have up to 20 different activities running at any particular one time, which gives a little bit for everybody, and there'll be something for everyone. Clearly, tonight is an opportunity for you to look at our school and to meet people and to talk about our school. If I've got one piece of advice for you, I would ask and talk to what I see as our most valuable resource, which are our teachers and our students. Speak to them about what school is like for them. We have a £20 million building as part of the Building Schools for the Future programme in Sandwell. But for me, great teachers can teach anywhere, because it's about making a connection with your children, and it's about inspiring them to do better. And that is all part of my focus and philosophy as a head teacher. When my wife and I looked at secondary schools for our own children, we kind of looked at different things. My wife was really focused on exam results, on Ofsted reports, which are clearly really important. I, as a dad, focused upon how the school felt for me. I kind of went during the day and had a walk round. I spoke to the teachers and I spoke to the children because I wanted to get a feel for what it would be like for my daughters to go to that school. Luckily, we got the right decision between us, but we did look for totally different things. So I would urge you to come and see us during the day. I'd also urge you to go and see other schools in the local area also during the day, because that will give you a feel for what each of them are like. Ultimately, I would like the opportunity to take your children through the next stage of their education, because I know I, for one, will relish the challenge to help continue to develop them in school. I want them to become really well-rounded individuals. I want them to be polite, respectful and responsible individuals who have got really high aspirations for themselves and high ambitions.